Call 0800 Andertons for your... Yowza, I'm Chappers.
And I'm the captain.
And we're at Andertons.
We certainly are.
With this amazing looking Royal Atlantic.
With cheese.
Handmade by the King of England for our particular demo.
And you know what? It's the last demo of the day. It's always the hardest demo to do.
Unless you've got an awesome Mesa Boogie
hugely helped by having an amplifier that I haven't really plugged into before. Plugged in, and do you know what? It's kind of like, I don't mean this against other Boogie amplifiers, but it's quite refreshing to plug into a Boogie amplifier that hasn't got lots of dip switches, and you know, you can have it in 57 different modes and everything.
Yes,
it's just
butchy.
Yeah, it's just plug it in, 2 channels, go.
Yeah.
Both sound epic. The Royal Atlantic, what is it? It is a 100-watt all tube head. I think it's available as a 212 combo as well, but we've got the head into a 212 cabinet here. Comes preloaded with EL34s, but you can swap those out for 6L6s and just switch a button on the back and it rebiases itself for 6L6s. 2 channels. The clean channel has no sort of dip switches for voicing or anything. It just sounds amazing straight away. Dirty channel, likewise, got no different voicing. But what we do have on the dirty channel is a high and low gain switch. Each with its own separate master volume, which is kind of cool. And for the first part of the demo, we're just going to take you through those 3 sounds. Second part of the demo, I'm going to show you what Boogie call their multi-soak feature.
So we're going to kind of do a front of the amp part and then a back of the amp part of this awesome head, packaged by Mike C.
Mike C.
Thank you, Mike.
Boogie amplifiers, one of the things I quite like about Boogie amplifiers is they voice all their amplifiers to sound how the designer intended them to sound, with the tone controls all at 12 o'clock. So I've pretty much left all the tone controls at 12 o'clock. And the first sound you're going to hear is the clean channel. It has an all-tube spring reverb section, which, you know, as often with Boogie amplifiers, you can bypass, hard bypass if you want to. But we haven't. We're using the luscious reverbs in here. And
a Fender Stratocaster.
And a Fender Strat, yeah.
A deluxe one.
A Fender Deluxe Stratocaster, yes.
With the awesome S switch here for secret humbucking.
We do have the option to run this in either a 50 or 100 watt mode, and we're running in 100 watt mode for extra sort of, you know, scariness. Yeah. We did the demo of the Transatlantic 30 just before this one, and I must admit the difference when you hear a 100 watt clean sound to a 30 watt clean sound
is a sparklier, cleaner top of headroom.
Opens up so much, doesn't it? I don't know how much of that'll come across on YouTube, but trust me, clean amplifier, this sounds amazing. So we can drive the clean channel a little bit, so I'll just do that for you now so you can kind of hear, compensate by knocking the master volume back, turning the gain up a little. Stays pretty clean, doesn't it? It's just got that little bit of edge, hasn't it?
Yeah.
So we'll pop over now to the vintage channel. We'll use it in its low mode first. So this is a low gain vintage channel. Killer sound. I think we're going to come back as well and you'll see some other guys playing guitar and we'll use some other guitars as well, but for now I'm going to go to the high gain.
Stab it! Captain.
This is what they call vintage high gain. So again, this isn't really your metal. Captain Stabbing, did you just say?
It's time for a JHS coffee break there.
It is, absolutely. Anyway, so this is again, this is its vintage high gain mode. Really like this. You're going to like this too. Favourite Boogie amplifier I've ever heard, this one.
It's pretty good, isn't it?
Yeah, seriously.
Doesn't leave a lot to be desired.
No, it's as I said, for again, you sort of blues rock kind of player.
Yeah.
Not a lot to leave out here. Here's the back of the amplifier now, and Rob will do some close-up sweeps so you can, because there's a lot of stuff on here. So we'll just quickly whiz along. The important part is at this end, my end, which is the multi-soak bit we're going to tell you about. But I'll just quickly whiz over here. We've got a slave output, so if you need to drive this through some...
and you want it to work a bit harder for you.
No, that's not what you use slave out. That was abolished back in the 1900s.
One Trowbridge.
Anyway, so slave output with a separate level. Speaker outputs here. The switch that I told you about before that allows you to quickly switch from having a EL34 bias to a 6L6 bias. Foot switch, that's handy. You've got a foot switch output on or input on the front and the back, so I guess
they think of everything, don't they, these guys at Boogie?
Foot switch socket on the back, so again you can choose as the player whether you want to, if it's more convenient,
you want to plug it in the front or the back.
Or the back, yeah. I think it does kind of help. I feel like where this helps for a real pro guitar players is where you've got a big switching rack and maybe you're not using the actual foot switch, but you've got like a rack switching it. It's actually quite useful to have it on the back. I've got a reverb control here with 2 modes, a high and a low mode, and also a true bypass switch for the reverb. Effects loop, which also is wired so that when you're not using the effects loop, it's completely true bypass.
That's really good.
Fan speed. So if you have fans and you need to control how fast they can run, you have a little switch. No, it's genuinely this is fitted with a little fan just to keep it cool.
That's awesome.
If you're in the studio, you might find that on high mode the fan's a little noisy, so you can switch it to low mode. If you're live, obviously you're never going to hear it. If you can hear some creaking in the background, that's Stick's spine. So each of the 3 channels, or the 3 modes that we can foot switch between, has a 5-stage attenuator. So I can switch the amplifier into its 100 or its 50 watt mode and attenuate right down to 3 watts apparently if I want to. And of course I can have that different for each channel. So if I want my clean sound to be nice and expansive and lots of headroom, I would just have no attenuation. And if I want my drive sounds to really, really sort of drive the output stage as hard as I possibly can, I would maximize the attenuation. I'm just basically going to, whilst Chappers is playing, we're going to start with no attenuation. I'm going to roll it back to its maximum attenuation, which is a 16 dB attenuation.
Yeah.
And I think if I was in the 50 watt mode, it would drop me down to 3 watts, but we're in the 100 watt mode, so it probably won't go quite as low as that. But you'll get the idea.
Basically,
anyway.
what you're going to hear is a drop in volume and also a feel and attack.
Yeah.
Be saggier or sort of more headroom.
Now, I would imagine that the power soak on the clean channel is really only useful for if you're playing at home, because I would have thought gigging wise you probably do want lots of headroom on the clean channel. Where I think you'll probably use power soak or multi-soak, sorry, much more often is on the gain channel. So let's pop over to the low gain vintage sound. Of course, now what I can do is whiz back round to this side and drive the shit out of it. So you can see, turn that back down. So you can see, I mean, that's a massive difference. And that was on the low gain sound. So now we'll whiz over to the high gain sound and I'll basically do the same.
I'm afraid, Lee.
We'll just, yeah, I'll just kick in the attenuator and then I'll crank the amplifier. So here we go.
That's a lot of fun.
And what I will demonstrate to you now is if we didn't have the attenuator, just how loud would the Boogie Royal Atlantic go?
Do you want to cover your ears? Cover your ears. There's an audience here you can't see of a bunch of guys. Ready? 3, 2. It's loud.
That is, I can testify, According to my decibel chart,
Does pain begin?
125 is where pain begins, and that was 124.9. So my chart is wrong because pain began. So you can see how useful an attenuator is there, because that would be a very, very unusable volume.
Yeah. How much does this pain in a can cost?
To get this much pain, you need to part with about just over £2,000. So do come to, if you want to know for definite, just hit the Andertons website, come and check. My ears and brain haven't quite recovered yet, so...
It's a shock to the nervous system, isn't it? I think we should probably leave it there, Lee.
I might go and lie down for 5 minutes and then start the video again.
You've been a great audience, and
Yes.
We've loved demonstrating this awesome Royal Atlantic from Mesa Boogie.
Yeah, well done, Boogie. Again, this is genuine, I think, one of the best Boogie amplifiers I've ever tried, so I hope this sells well for them. And yeah, check it out. You can get more spec off the Andertons website. Hope you enjoyed the video. Captain out.